At 6:47 a.m., Gate 19, Charles de Gaulle Airport, a tall man in designer sunglasses stood in line for his flight to Dubai. White sneakers, Louis Vuitton duffel bag, a watch that could pay your rent for a year. To everyone watching, he was someone. A successful influencer, maybe. A digital entrepreneur. The type of guy who posts motivational quotes about hustle and financial freedom. To the untrained eye, he was rich. But the French financial police waiting near the gate knew something no one else did. He didn't own a business. He didn't sell a product. He didn't even have real followers. And yet, somehow, he'd made $3 million. For 2 years, this man lived like a millionaire influencer, but he didn't sell anything. 2 officers approached. He smiled at first, thinking they wanted a photo. Then came the tap on his shoulder, the badge, the words he'd hoped never to hear. Monsieur Adisa, you're under arrest for financial fraud and impersonation of a licensed investment advisor. The man froze, still smiling faintly, as if cameras were rolling. As they led him away, a small crowd gathered. Someone whispered, "Wait, that's the Adisa Kane, the crypto guy?" Someone else replied, "No way, he's legit, isn't he?" Nobody was sure, because everything about Adisa's life was built on one thing: belief. 2 years earlier, he was nobody. No followers, no money. Just a 27-year-old living in a tiny apartment in Lagos, Nigeria. Jobless, scrolling through Instagram, watching people half his age show off cars and villas. He'd been fired from his sales job 3 months earlier. His landlord was threatening eviction, and his girlfriend had just left saying, "I can't keep dating potential. I need proof." That sentence broke him. Not because she left, but because she was right. He was potential, nothing more. That night, he looked into the cracked mirror on his wall and whispered to himself, "If people only respect success, then I'll give them success to respect." That's where it began. Not with greed, not with crime, but with hunger. A deep, desperate hunger for recognition in a world obsessed with appearances. It started small. He created a new Instagram page. Clean username, minimalist bio. Investor, speaker, dream builder. He downloaded a few stock photos of luxury offices, cropped out faces, and posted them with captions like, "Another deal closed. New week, new opportunities." At first, nothing happened. No likes, no followers. But then, a small miracle. Someone he knew from high school commented, "Wow, bro, congrats, you're doing big things." That comment changed everything, because it told him one thing: people want to believe. He doubled down. He started posting daily, rented suits for photo shoots, borrowed his cousin's BMW for client meetings, screenshotted other people's crypto gains, and blurred the names. And it worked. The algorithm started pushing his posts. People followed. Old friends messaged him for investment advice. He'd finally cracked the code. What Adisa had unknowingly tapped into is what psychologists call perception economics, the idea that, in modern society, status can substitute for substance. If you look successful long enough, people will assume you are, and opportunities start appearing that would never exist otherwise. By week 6, he had 10,000 followers. By month 3, 50,000. But here's the twist. None of them were real. Adisa bought followers, 1,000 for $12. He used engagement bots that left heart emojis and AAA under his posts. He even joined fake influencer engagement groups, hundreds of people pretending to support each other's fake lives. And just like that, a ghost empire was born. He got his first brand email. "We'd like to send you free luxury sunglasses for a promo." It was nothing, maybe $50 in value, but it was proof that the world was now reacting to his illusion. He told himself it was just marketing, a bit of image building until the real success arrived. But it didn't stop there. Soon, he started receiving DMs from strangers asking, "How do you invest in crypto like you? Can you manage my portfolio?" At first, he ignored them. Then came the idea that would make him millions and eventually destroy him. One night, he was watching an interview with a real influencer who bragged, "Perception is everything. Once people believe you have it, they give you more. That line lit a fire in his mind. What if he could create fake investment opportunities for people who already believed in his success? They didn't need proof, they just needed the illusion to look convincing enough. So he designed a fake venture, Kane Capital, Africa's #1 digital investment hub. He created a website using a free template, filled it with jargon he barely understood: blockchain, liquidity, private equity. He paid a designer $40 to make a logo that looked like something from Wall Street. Then he posted, "Kane Capital officially launches this month. Limited investor slots available." He went to sleep nervously, unsure if anyone would take him seriously. When he woke up, his DMs were flooded. People wanted in. That was the moment the lie became a business. The first lie was only supposed to impress one person, but it went viral. 6 months after launching Kane Capital, Adisa Kane was living a life that, on the surface, screamed success. Private dinners, designer clothes, photo shoots on rooftops with the city skyline behind him. He wasn't rich yet, but online, he looked unstoppable. And that's all that mattered. He called it the brand of me. Adisa created a version of himself that looked like the African version of Grant Cardone. Sharp suits, slick talk, and a smile that said, "I know something you don't." Every photo, every caption, every story post was strategic. He rented luxury cars for weekends and took hundreds of pictures in different outfits, enough content to drip feed for months. When followers asked, "Is that your Lambo?" he'd laugh and say, "Yeah, one of them." Technically, he wasn't lying. He just didn't mention it was rented by the hour. This is what marketers call perception stacking, where each small illusion builds on the last until the whole picture looks real. People don't verify details, they verify patterns. If you look consistent enough, if your story matches the success they want to believe in, they stop asking questions. That's the start of the social proof loop. Here's how it works. When people see others trust you, they automatically lower their guard and trust you too. That's how religions spread, that's how fads go viral, and that's exactly how Adisa's fake empire grew. He knew that if he could make people believe that others were already investing, the crowd would follow fast. So he created fake testimonials, screenshots of client profits, DMs that looked like thank you messages. "Thank you, Mr. Kane. You made me $10,000 in 2 weeks. Best mentor ever. Can't wait for the next round." None of it was real, but online, no one could tell. He even bought press features, $300 to appear in fake Forbes-style articles on unknown websites that looked legitimate. He'd repost them, saying, "So humble to be recognized as one of Africa's rising entrepreneurs." His follower count jumped from 50,000 to 300,000. Most of them are bots, but it didn't matter, because soon real humans joined too, drawn in by the illusion of mass approval. The fake life started producing real results. A major watch brand reached out, offering a small influencer deal. They didn't care if his followers were real, they just saw numbers. He took the deal, posted the photos, and tagged their official page. That tag alone triggered a chain reaction. Other small companies started reaching out. People began referring to him as the crypto guy or that young millionaire from Lagos. Every post, every deal, every fake success created new real opportunities. And that's when he realized money doesn't chase truth, it chases momentum. So he decided to build more of it. He began announcing brand partnerships with real companies he'd never spoken to, using edited screenshots of emails and contracts. He'd say, "Proud to partner with Emirates for my upcoming wealth tour." In reality, the wealth tour was 3 rented conference rooms and a friend filming on his iPhone. Still, it looked official. People believed it. And the more they believed, the more they gave. He launched an exclusive investors round, minimum entry $10,000. He promised monthly returns from crypto arbitrage and private tech deals. The first week, 5 people signed up, then 20, then hundreds. In 2 months, over $600,000 had been wired to his accounts and his network of fake shell companies. And still, no one questioned him. Because every investor saw other investors posting screenshots and congratulating themselves online. The social proof loop was now fully alive. It's a strange truth about the modern economy. Sometimes, belief alone can generate real money, until reality asks for receipts. Adisa understood something deeper, that influence wasn't about truth, it was about visibility. He started hiring PR firms, photographers, and stylists. He appeared at networking events with real millionaires, careful to always be photographed next to success. Within months, journalists began writing about him. Headlines like, "The African Visionary Bringing Wall Street to Lagos." He was invited to panels, business conferences, and even TV interviews. He'd mastered the art of strategic confusion, saying so much yet so little that no one could tell if what he said actually made sense. When interviewers asked, "What's your business model?" he'd smile and answer, "We innovate in digital liquidity optimization." Nobody dared to admit they didn't understand, because if they didn't get it, it must be too advanced. By late 2022, Adisa Kane was living in a penthouse in Victoria Island. Every weekend, influencers, models, and wannabe entrepreneurs filled his apartment. Champagne flowed, cameras flashed. Everyone wanted to be seen with him. He had become the influencer of influencers. What no one knew was that the walls were closing in. The more people believed, the more money came in. And the more money came in, the bigger the lie had to become. He wasn't just playing with people's trust anymore. He was juggling real millions. And deep down, he knew, one mistake, one wrong investor, and everything could fall apart overnight. One Friday evening, Adisa opened his phone and saw a new message request. "Hi, Mr. Kane. My company would like to invest $250,000 into Kane Capital. But before we proceed, we'll need to conduct a private audit. Kindly share your documentation." He froze. An audit? Nobody had ever asked for that before. He ignored it. 2 days later, another message arrived, same sender. Then another. Polite, persistent. He felt uneasy, but he told himself it was just a formality. He replied, "Sure thing, my team will contact you next week." There was no team, there were no documents. He thought he could fake it like everything else. He had no idea that this investor wasn't an investor at all. He didn't send money. He sent a private investigator. By mid-2023, Adisa Kane wasn't just an influencer. He was an ecosystem, a self-sustaining illusion, powered by bots, boosted by media, and believed by thousands. The man who once slept on a thin mattress in a one-room flat was now listed in Google search results as Africa's youngest digital tycoon. Except, none of it was real. Adisa didn't know it yet, but his scam had evolved into something bigger than him. What started as a few fake posts was now a system, a machine that ran on perception, attention, and automation. He had a team now, or at least people who thought they worked for him. A graphic designer from Kenya who made fake stock reports, a social media manager in Dubai who ran a network of ghost accounts to comment under every post, saying things like, "Legend," "Boss moves only," "Teach us your ways, King." It created a hypnotic rhythm. Scroll, see wealth, believe wealth. And because everyone else believed, no one questioned it. He discovered a new tool, engagement automation, a black market software that could simulate real fan behavior, likes, comments, and even direct messages. The bots didn't just react, they interacted. They'd reply to each other, argue about his success, debate his strategies like a real online community. It was artificial life, a digital cult that worshipped a god made of algorithms. He began to see the numbers differently. Each new follower felt like oxygen, each view a pulse, and each fire and love emoji validation. It's ironic, the man who created fake followers had become a follower himself, a follower of the illusion he built. Here's where the magic and danger of perception truly began. Adisa had cracked a formula that drives modern digital wealth. Perception equals profit. When people believe you're valuable, they treat you as valuable. And that treatment creates opportunities, which, when monetized, turn belief into actual cash. Let's break it down. Step 1. Build a visual narrative of success. Luxury photos, endorsements, exclusivity. Step 2. Convert followers into credibility. If 500K people follow him, he must know what he's doing. Step 3. Monetize belief. Launch a course, fund, or opportunity people want to join. Step 4. Reinvest the earnings into more illusion. Buy ads, fake press, luxury optics. And the cycle repeats. The system feeds itself. That's exactly what Adisa did, perfectly. By the time journalists started asking for financial details, his company accounts were flowing with real money from imaginary deals. Investigators later pieced together what happened next. The $3 million Adisa made didn't come from one place. It came from everywhere. 100 small investors, each sending $10,000 here, $20,000 there. A few crypto transfers through Binance and Trust Wallet, private payments through Payoneer and USDT. Even cash was hand-delivered to his office for in-person consultations. He funneled the money through 5 shell companies, each registered under slightly different names: Kane Digital, Kane Global, Kane Assets, K Capital Group, and one offshore firm in Mauritius. From there, funds moved through crypto mixers, making it nearly impossible to trace. Then came the fake invoices, payments marked as marketing expenses, consultancy fees, and luxury branding partnerships. To the untrained eye, they all looked legitimate. On paper, Kane Capital was thriving, but in truth, every cent came from a web of lies. The irony was, Adisa had started believing it himself. When he looked at the articles calling him visionary, when fans shouted his name at airports, when strangers stopped him for selfies, he started to forget that it was fake. He began to spend money as if it were real profit: luxury watches, first-class flights. He even bought his mother a house, paid for entirely with investor funds. He justified it all by saying, "They'll get their returns soon. This is just marketing." But marketing had turned into mania. The line between branding and fraud had vanished. When lies start to feel like truth, that's when the fall begins. Not because you're caught, but because you stop running. Adisa went global. He began appearing on podcasts in Dubai, London, and Johannesburg, all virtual, all carefully staged with green screens and rented backgrounds. He hired voice actors to pose as clients in testimonial videos. He purchased magazine cover spots on small international publications, the kind that lets anyone pay for exposure. He even landed a fake feature titled, "The African Billionaire Disrupting Wall Street." People ate it up. He was invited to speak at a crypto summit in Portugal, sitting next to real founders, real CEOs, who had no idea the man beside them was a ghost. The private investigator, the man who had first messaged him months ago, had quietly infiltrated his network. He joined his investor groups under a fake name, tracked every transaction, monitored every public post. And soon, he started seeing patterns: identical comments under every post, repeated words, identical timestamps, a swarm of AI-driven engagement. It was enough to raise red flags. And once red flags appear, journalists follow, regulators follow, and eventually, the truth catches up. Meanwhile, Adisa's nights grew quieter. He had the cars, the penthouse, the fame, but not peace. He couldn't sleep without checking his phone, couldn't post without fear someone might call him out. Every smile in his circle looked suspicious. Every friend could be a reporter. Every follower could be fake. He started deleting old messages, rewriting contracts, scrubbing traces of digital lies. But it was too late. The luxury he created online was starting to haunt him offline. It always starts small. One photo, one story, one post too perfect to question. But the thing about lies? They're heavy. And eventually, they start to crock under their own weight. By mid-2024, Elias Cade, the man the internet worshipped as the millionaire minimalist, had built an empire of air. His world looked perfect. Private jets, designer rooftops, crypto panels, women in gold dresses, sunset photos captioned with fake wisdom. But behind every image was debt, panic, and deceit. It started with a single DM from someone who didn't buy the dream. A pilot from a private jet company in Dubai sent a message to a finance blogger. This guy never booked with us, he just paid to take photos on the tarmac. That message spread faster than wildfire. Suddenly, Elias Cade, the man who had convinced the internet he was worth $50 million, was facing questions he couldn't Photoshop away. Then came the invoices. An anonymous tip to a small tech journalist in Berlin, bundles of fake documents. They weren't even consistent. Some had his company logo misspelled. It didn't take long before the truth surfaced. He'd been sending fake investment contracts to his followers, claiming he'd secured deals with luxury brands. The money they sent, for partnership access or exclusive NFT projects, never reached any company. He told me I'd double my money in 60 days. He claimed to have insider access to a luxury watch NFT launch. He showed me screenshots of emails with Rolex executives. All fake, every single one. What Elias understood was digital trust. He exploited the illusion of credibility. If a page looks expensive, people assume it's legitimate. It's not financial fraud in the old sense, it's psychological warfare. But Elias wasn't panicking yet. He'd built an entire online ecosystem designed to protect him. Thousands of fake comments defended him, all posted by bots. He even had verified journalists on LinkedIn write puff pieces. Except they weren't journalists. They were AI accounts he'd generated with stolen profile pictures. He'd weaponized artificial intelligence to build artificial influence. And then, the algorithm turned on him. Meta's AI started flagging suspicious engagement patterns. Fake likes disappeared overnight. Brands pulled partnerships. Crypto investors started demanding refunds. Elias tried one last move, deleting everything and claiming he was hacked. But it was too late. The illusion he built was now running without him, as fake as the empire it represented. His girlfriend, the one who had once filmed his motivational reels, began asking questions. She'd seen the hotel bills, the rental receipts, the fake magazine covers. She realized she'd been living inside a stage set. One night, she opened his laptop and found a spreadsheet labeled Reality Management. It contained lists of fake followers, passwords for burner accounts, AI chat scripts to handle investor concerns, and a note at the bottom that read, "Don't get caught believing it yourself." But he had. He believed it. Somewhere between pretending and performing, Elias forgot who he was lying to. We told him to stop. He said, "If people believe it, it's not fake, it's marketing." That line would come back to haunt him. Because the shocking part wasn't that he fooled investors, brands, or fans. It was who helped him. The same PR firm that had built real celebrity brands had been behind his image too. They knew. They just didn't care. As long as the checks cleared and the clicks came in, fake was profitable. And that revelation would blow the entire influencer economy wide open. Because if a nobody could fake fame with their help, how many other millionaires online were illusions too? The empire was crumbling. But what came next wasn't just a fall. It was exposure. By the time the news broke, the internet was already divided. Some called him a genius, others a sociopath. But the truth was far stranger. Because Elias Cade hadn't worked alone. Behind the illusion was something far bigger and far more profitable. The investigation uncovered emails between Elias and a top influencer agency, one that managed real celebrities and billion-dollar brands. In one message, an executive wrote, "We know some of your stats are inflated, but you make the lifestyle look good. Keep it polished." They didn't just ignore the red flags, they amplified them. They pushed his photos to magazines, booked him on podcasts, and even used him as a case study in their marketing deck. To them, Elias was a walking, talking billboard for the dream they were selling, the illusion that everyone online was rich, famous, and one post away from greatness. But the dream ended at Charles de Gaulle Airport. As Elias stepped off a private flight, rented of course, police were waiting. The investors had pressed charges. The agency had quietly erased all traces of him. The footage of his arrest, grainy, chaotic, would later become the most watched clip on finance TikTok that year. For 2 years, the reporter said, he lived like a millionaire influencer, but he didn't sell anything. But here's the twist. After months of headlines, investigations, and outrage, Elias Cade was released. Because the contracts he made his investors sign were legally airtight. He never guaranteed returns. He never explicitly lied about owning assets. He just let people believe. And in the court of law, belief isn't a crime. He walked free, broke, disgraced, alone, but legally innocent. And that, maybe, was the scariest part. Because while his bank accounts were frozen, his online persona wasn't. His followers kept growing. The scandal made him more famous than ever. Even after his arrest, people reposted his clips. They quoted his fake success lines. They said he might have faked it, but he still made it. That's when the truth hit like a punch. In today's world, attention itself is currency, and Elias had more of it than ever. See, in the old economy, money created reputation. In the new one, reputation creates money, and perception is everything. Elias proved that with enough confidence, filters, and engagement, you could manufacture wealth without ever earning it. He didn't sell a product, he was the product. And we, the audience, were the investors. After his release, he disappeared from the public eye. Or at least he did. But the persona lived on. Clipped videos, AI-generated motivational speeches in his voice, merchandise he never made. His ghost, the brand he built, became immortal. And somewhere out there, someone new started copying his playbook. And just like that, the cycle began again. The illusion recycled, rebranded, and reposted. Because people didn't want the truth. They wanted hope. They wanted to believe that wealth could be as easy as a camera angle and a hashtag. Elias Cade taught the world one thing, that in the age of social media, money isn't always what's in your account. Sometimes it's what people think you have. He built an empire of imagination, and when it collapsed, he left behind a haunting question. If faking success gets you real success, is it still a lie? This is the story of Elias Cade, the influencer who sold nothing and made millions from it. But what's even scarier is how many people took notes.